Okay. Gordon, I think he's definitely a glass half full person. And I really want to know why you're so bloody positive the whole time, Gordon, because to be perfectly honest with you, you are surrounded by a sea of pessimism at times, and I know you've commented on this very frequently over the years, but why do you remain so positive, Gordon?
I have to, because I don't think anybody else is around here. I think going back over the years, we've had a number of times where we've had, I think a word used earlier on, disasters. And when you think of sort of no ground, the letdown on that, obviously then we got Prince Edward, that went. We've had a promotion, that went. Very little money. There have been so many pitfalls along the way. And I've been advised numerous times you ought to leave. And I just like to prove people wrong. And I think, certainly along with Leo and the rest of the management team, that gives you greater satisfaction having gone through all those times. We were in Division 3 when we first took over with no ground, no money. I think we were in the administration at the time. It has been a long process. There's been numerous letdowns, but I'll tell you what, it's not a bad way, is it, to finish off at the moment. And we're still going forward.
So what motivates and challenges you now, Gordon? Because I mean, you've seen so many good times, not only with Wealdstone, but with previous clubs. But what is the main thing that motivates you at this club at the moment?
Wish you'd have shown me some of these questions before I got up here. The point is, you always want to take it further. And here we are, new challenge next year, conference out. And yet again, you're going to try and pick yourself against other clubs, management, things like that, and see if we can take it even further. And I see absolutely no reason why not. The club's thriving. Now we've got a home. And please God, it stays a little bit longer now. But we've got a home. I've said it before, once you get a home, we've got a heartbeat. That heartbeat at the moment is now really thumping, and I think we can take it forward. And with everybody in this room and everybody that's supported the club over the last few years, I think it's a place that everybody's talking about. People outside are talking about Wealdstone Football Club as the ones that's going forward. You look in the county now, we are now, along with Staines, obviously Brentford are up there, they're going well, but we're getting closer. We're now the senior non-league club in the county. And by the end of next year, we'll be above Staines. We will be the senior non-league club in the county. I'm confident of it.
Absolutely. Now, one of the questions I did want to ask you, Gordon, is that if a young manager came to you seeking advice about management, I mean, obviously you've been getting 20 years at Wealdstone, you've had fantastic experience at other clubs. In your book, we've all read all about it. What would you say to a young manager coming into management now? What advice would you give, just sum it up?
Don't do it.
I can't believe that, Gordon. Come on.
The thing is, I think there's an awful lot of managers around now that have played under me. And it happened the other day, I went to watch Maidenhead, wanted to go and have a look at the Conference South. There was Drax, they were 3-0 up at the time, and I happened to be talking to one of his subs at the time. And suddenly he's turned around, seen me over here, and he turned around and said, "Wait, we ain't got relegated yet, get your hands off my player." So that was the first thing, a little bit of banter obviously. Then he came over, shook me by the hand, gave me a bit of a cuddle and said, "Listen, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this job now." And he said, "I'm very grateful for that." There's been so many players now that have played under myself, and Leo particularly, that are now in the management game. And I honestly believe there's one reason. They think if that old bugger can do it, anybody can.
Okay, I mean, one of the main questions I want to ask you, brought on so many young players and moved them on to conference level and beyond into league football. What are your thoughts about that, Gordon? It must give you a great deal of satisfaction.
It's funny, I'm serious when I say this. I don't take any credit for that. The bottom line, those players have got the ability. All we've got to do is try and nurture it, develop them as people, give them confidence. And if they do that, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go off and play at a high level. Don't take any credit whatsoever. And I think it's down to those players. And so many managers want to take, the limelight and things like that for what they think they've done. It's not. It's down to the players and the people they're playing with as well. And I'll use one person this year. And he's sitting over there, Tom Peck, who is the current one, where people have come down and looked at it. But if it wasn't for players within the unit, he wouldn't have had such a good season. He's done very well and he's flourished since he's been here. But it's not just me, Mickey, Gilly, Leo, the rest of the players. they're the ones that helped Tom get to where he is at the moment. And I sincerely hope that he's still with us next year. But at some stage, I think he was good enough to be a professional footballer.
Thank you for that, Gordon. Now, one of the things, I'm normally stuck over in the press box, as you know, talking to John, or John's talking to me usually, and doing a bit of commentating. And I took time out to come over to the dugout actually recently, and I noticed that, you know, we know that you've got a fantastic management team around you, and I know how much store you place by that. But I noticed that during games you constantly pull part of your team out, talk to them, whisper in their ear, do things. I mean, how important is that team around you, Gordon?
Oh, it's massive. The good thing is, I haven't got yes men around me. They're all totally different characters. They've all got different ideas as well. And the nice part about it, you know, even before a game, we often ask them, you know, what do you think the side should be today, why, and so on and so forth. And normally there's one of them who challenges you. It's normally Mick. Whatever you're doing, he'll say something different. But it's good, because it makes you think more deeply about it. And no matter what it is, no matter what, you know, which one we go with, you know, I have to make that final decision. And I don't think in all the time any of them have been with me, I've ever heard any of them turn around after and said, well, I would have done that. Even if deep down they think, well, bad decision that one was. They still won't say it, they still back you. And that's important. And I go back to what I said earlier on. As far as I'm concerned, you surround yourself with good people. And it's not just the management team. I look at the players we've got this year. You know, in most teams you've got one or two people there that you think wouldn't necessarily trust him or anything like that, you know, for the want of a better expression, please excuse me ladies, but you've got one or two arseholes in the team, and I think most clubs have got that. I look around this lot, and they're all, no, sorry. And there isn't one, you know, you would trust any of them. They go out and they give everything. Sometimes they'll have a bad game. And there was one person who said to me this year, and I'm not going to mention any names, that I might let you down. That person in particular would never let anybody down. Might make mistakes, might have a bad game, but I'll tell you what, you know the characters of people, they never let you down on purpose, and every one of these players here today falls into that category. You know, they're a great bunch of lads. Consequently, we won the league. Good characters.
I'm sure we all agree with that. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, a couple more questions, and I'll just throw a couple out to the audience. But okay, an obvious one, this, Gordon. But I mean, obviously, the first time we're back in the conference is something we've dreamt about for many, many seasons. What do you see as the key challenges, and what about your preparation during the close season?
Preparations have already started. I spoke to a couple of managers just to get a feel for it. And, you know, people I respect. One said, you need to be big, you need to be strong, you need to be quick. The other thing is, it's a very unforgiving league. It's a total contrast to the Ryman League. He said, you won't know what's at you when you get up there. And that was from somebody who got promoted a few years ago. Now that was an interesting comment. It's a load of rubbish, because we're going to go up there and do well. Absolutely. Very confident.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Okay, just one final question before I throw a couple out to the floor. What do you reckon of this League B nonsense, Gordon? I mean, you know, I've been tweeting like crazy over the last few days. I mean, it is a very serious implication for all of the lower leagues of football and obviously non-league. But I'd just like to get your own opinion on what that means for this club and what your thoughts are.
Well, first of all, I can understand where he's coming from, but I think he's going about it in the wrong way. A number of players that come down here from pro clubs, I think, have had a great experience which has helped their footballing career. For one reason, he's competitive. With all due respect to the under-18 football, and we've got obviously people over there that have played in it, quite a few. And the big difference about coming into this is how competitive it is. Under-18, under-21s, technically they're very good players. And I'm going to ask, I'm going to return it, I'm going to ask a question. Charlie.
Yeah. Did you come with no helmet tonight? Very big difference.
Now there's someone who's been in a pro game for the last sort of couple of years. Come into this, you've got the physicality, you've got the decision making during games where maybe at under 21s it doesn't matter, you can go and do a trick and results don't matter. You've probably got about 100 people watching you, most of them are mums and dads and scouts. Here, you've got 700 people. They expect you to go out and do well. They expect you to go and get a result. When you don't do well, quite a few people in the audience, I'm sure, will back me up on this one. We're on the end of a bit of stick, be it management, be it players. If you don't do well, you have to grow as a character. That's another thing. It's not just footballing ability. It's about your mental strength, your attitude to certain things, and having a winning mentality. So I can see where he's coming from, but I think he's gone around it the wrong way. You know, I still strongly believe that these people that go out on loan get fantastic benefit from coming out to clubs such as ourselves, and it will benefit even more by going into a higher grade of football, which we're doing next year. So I haven't got the answer to that with regards to what he's coming up with, but at least he's trying to do something. But I think he's got the wrong end of the stick at the present time.
Okay, thank you very much.
I've been really impressed with what you've been already doing games, you know, doing
We're going to have to let you go.
now. So I'd just like to know your secret of a happy marriage.
That's good.
Was that a question from Howard, or was that a question from Katie? Well, she's not here. Don't see too much of her. Don't end up having too many rows. And I've been married 36 years, so I must be doing something right.
Who's Bigelow?
Punishment.
Okay, thanks, Howard. Any